Praise the Lord, just sitting here. Just sitting here. Sometimes all of us need to just selah, stop, pause, and think, and just take a real, true life breath. As I look back over my own life, look how far God has brought us. Look what God has done. Today is 20 years ago at 6:07 a.m., 20 years ago today, I woke up to my dad having a massive heart attack. Didn't know he was having a heart attack. And we were talking to one another in our sleep, betwixt the walls, and I woke up laughing. I said, "Pop, we talking to each other in our sleep." He stopped down. He said, "We sure are." As you want a cup of coffee? He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Bless you." I said, "Pop, you hear me say bless you?" I said, "I heard you sneeze." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Bless you." And something inside of me said, that didn't sound right. So I walked in the room. And before I walked in the room, I hollered, "You want your coffee? Black was 2 leveled off teaspoons of sugar?" Didn't say nothing. So I walked in the room. And he was swinging like he had a knife in his hand. Because he loved to fish. And he always carried a hawkbill knife or a carpenter's knife or some type of putty knife or carving knife. Some type of knife. He loved to carve soap and wood and whittle, and it's a craft that's went by the wayside, and he's holding to the headboard. He was swinging, and I ran over to him and I grabbed my shoulder. I said, "Pop, wake up!" And urine, snot, started coming out of everywhere, every orifice you can think of, and then he collapsed and fell, and then defecation and urination started just free flowing, and he started making this awful noise like he was chewing some hard candy, like he was just chewing his teeth. And when we fell, I turned him over. I couldn't even get him over, man, and death had come. And I went to check his pulse, and his chest, he was just doing this, and up and down, chest, and cardiac arrest. I've seen it before. And I turned him over and I went to do one compression. Pow! Broke his ribs. I grabbed the phone so fast and I dialed 911. "Ma'am, can you see the ambulance at 2707 Poplar Avenue?" And I remember the lady saying, "What's going on?" And she said, "Please hold. What's going on?" And I think my dad's having a heart attack or something. I don't know. So she said, "Do you want me to stay on the line with you?" And I said, "No, we got this." And I didn't understand till years later when I said "we got this" that I was referring to the Godhead. We got this, not me. The birds stopped singing, the wind stopped blowing, and death was here. So I called my mom. I said, "Mom, get over here." My mom's a retired nurse. I said, "Mom, get over here." She said, "What's going on?" I said, "It's Pop." I said, "I don't know if he had a heart attack, seizure, or what." She said, "Take a spoon and put it in his mouth." So I ran in the kitchen with the cordless phone, ran back, put the spoon in the mouth, boom. He was just doing like this. Nothing happened. He's just going, chest is up and down. He was in arrest. And so I had already broke his ribs, and I resumed trying to do CPR on him, and you could see where I had broke his rib, the big knot and the lump, and it was just off. His eyes was open. He was making this awful noise, and I was trying to comfort him, and I could hear the ambulance getting closer. Closer in Huntsville, Alabama, and closer and closer. And so I had hung up the phone with my mom. She said she was on her way. She didn't live maybe 10 minutes away. And I heard a knock on the door. It was a paramedic. And I said, "We back here." They ran in the back. They piled up the equipment, and he was already gone because I had touched his forehead. It was cool, and his eyes was open, so I had closed his eyes. Trust me, you will close the eyes. I blessed to close his eyes. And they started jumping up and down on him with the CPR and the AED and stuff, and I started screaming, "He's gone! He's gone! Just stop!" And then all of a sudden, one of the paramedics said, EMT said, "We got a pulse. Let's go." And they throw him in that gurney so quick. Shot up the hallway. We get outside in the front yard. My sisters were pulling up crying and holding on to the gurney and stuff, and they had to pull them off the gurney. And I'm trying to pull another sister off, and got in the ambulance. And my older sister tried to get in the ambulance. And the guy said, no, you can't go with us. And I said, sir, can I go? He said, sure, get in. We jumped in the front. They had the little square and stuff. I couldn't stand to look through the square and watch him work on him. So we took off. Man, I've driven fast. I've driven in Germany, Frankfurt, on the Autobahn, Berlin, Leonsburg, Staden, Stuttgart, you name it. I've flown up and down the Autobahn. And man, we were flying in the ambulance. We hit University Drive. Then we hit the Parkway. We got on the Governor's Drive, and I looked in the little square. They were still working on him. And the guy, he was sweating profusely. We were flying going up Governor's Drive. And I said, sir, he said, yes, young man. I said, can I ask you a question? You can ask me anything you want to. He was on the radio. They was working on him. I couldn't stand looking at the little square. And I said, before you guys came, he was making a noise like he was chewing some hard candy or some rock candy or something. And he said, what'd you say? I said, before you guys came, he was making a noise. And like he was chewing some hard candy. I said, what was that? And he reached up and turned off the sirens about that time. It was just, I don't know if it was coincidence or what. He looked me in my eyes. He said, those were his last breaths. You did a good thing. Your dad didn't die alone. So we got to the hospital. My mom came. I'm there with defecation, urine, and snot all over me. And we're in the family room. The doctors come in, and my mom said, how is that? I said, Mom, he's gone. She thinks so. I said, Mom, he died at 6:12. The heart attack started at 6:07. I looked at the clock both times. So we holding hands and talking and laughing and, you know, just having a normal conversation. And the doctor comes in and starts talking about his cardiac team. He's a cardiologist and the schools he's went to, and how he's a graduate of University of Alabama Roll Tide. And we were laughing and making small talk. And he hit us with that, I'm sorry, Mr. Davis didn't make it. And so then they asked me, I mean, it was just deafening. The rest of my family came. And so I asked the doctor to go in and just see him. And I went in the room they had him in. He was shrouded, he was covered, except for his face. And I stroked his face and told him, I said, I let you down in death, Dad, a lot. But I won't let you down in, you know, in your past, and I let you down in life, but I won't let you down in death. I said, I caused you a lot of pain and disrespect, Father, you know, and Dad, and Father God, I'll do better going forward. It was 8:06 when I looked at the clock. I walked out the hospital, and I told my mom she said, where you going? I said, Mom, I'm going to work. I went to work that same morning, and I resigned at 4:45 that evening. And I left Alabama, and that was 20 years ago. And I came home just to take care of my dad. I left a 6-figure job in D.C., came home to see my dad, well, on vacation. And I just couldn't go back to D.C. with my dad like that. I just couldn't. You know, dragging his feet, couldn't cook for himself, couldn't wash himself, couldn't feed himself, you know, half of the time. And I just couldn't leave my dad like that. So I went to work and I resigned that day, and I haven't looked back. I've been here 20 years in Chicagoland. Was blessed to pack up his house and wash all of his clothes, and I'm grateful. The time I spent with my dad, he taught me not just how to fish and how to hunt and how to skin rabbits and squirrels and scale fish, you know, clean fish. But my dad was the only man I really feel like I ever met in my entire life. So I'm grateful. Today is 20 years since it's died in my arms, and I'm all right. Just a little shook, shaken, but not stirred. And every death will prepare you for the next death. My grandfather's suicide on Father's Day, my grandmother's death on her birthday, my mother's arm, my dad died in my arms, my mom died 4 days after my birthday, both my brothers died 2 years after my mom. Every death prepares you for the next death. So we have to hold the God's unchanging hand. I miss you, Pop. Thank you for being my dad. Love your parents. Don't rush them. Love them. Don't cuss them. Pray for them. God bless you. God keep you. It's my prayer. I love you, Pop. I love you. William Isaiah Davis. We called him Bear. God bless you. God keep you. It's my prayer. Peace.